Those remembrances half a world away will continue as Sacramento adds its voice to the chorus, if you will. A tribute to Queen Elizabeth is planned for tonight at 6 at Trinity Episcopal Cathedral. The Dean of the Cathedral, the Very Reverend Matthew Woodward, with me now live to share more about tonight's ceremony. Welcome to Fox 40 News at 11.
Thank you, Sincere.
You were visiting family in the UK when Her Majesty passed at Balmoral. Please share with us, what was that like? What happened to the collective spirit when after 70 years on the throne, she was gone?
Yeah, I am English and was visiting parents in Sussex, and then I was in London. I actually was at Westminster Abbey the morning that she died, visiting a seminary colleague who's the precentor there, and he's going to be involved in some of the planning. And I wasn't really feeling a lot of the shock initially. I just saw the notification from the palace that she was taken very ill and that the royal family were coming to her bedside, which seemed to be an indication that something serious was happening. And really, we were expecting her passing. She is a 96-year-old woman, but it was a shock as well. And I've just been reflecting on the fact that she's been there my entire life. Every Christmas that I ever had at home, she would be on the television at 3 p.m. making a speech. We weren't allowed to open our presents until after the Queen had spoken. So she's just really been a fixture and almost like an extended part of the English family for many people. Yeah, so it was a moving moment, and I've been processing how I've been feeling. And I'm glad that we're going to be able to say some prayers for her tonight.
Definitely. Queen Elizabeth was not only queen, but she was also the leader or supreme governor of the Church of England, the leader of the Anglican Communion. The Episcopal Cathedral here is part of the Anglican Communion. Please break that down for us.
Yeah, well, I was ordained in the Church of England as a priest 20 or so years ago. I'm from there, and the Church of England is the church that the Queen is the head of, dating back to the Reformation, when King Henry VIII wanted to exert some authority over the church in England, and then that has stayed with the monarchy ever since. The Episcopal Church is a sibling church to the Church of England. We were a part of the Church of England until obviously the American Revolution, and we became independent at that point. But over time, we formed really close bonds with the Church of England. So we're a sibling or a cousin church, if you would like. And many people in the Episcopal Church have affection for the Queen, though she's not the head of our church. And there was a moment when I became an Episcopal priest where I had to say that I wasn't going to follow the authority of the Queen anymore and follow the authority of the Episcopal Church. My mum was slightly concerned about that, but we got over it.
Okay, well, that is good news. You went to the London School of Theology before ordination. Did you ever have occasion to meet the Queen ever?
I did not, but I was the parish priest of a parish in the middle of London, and I went to one event that Prince Philip was at. He was at an event at the Pimlico boating base, which was in my parish, and I had been invited to go along. I think I got to see him for 2 or 3 seconds. That was about it, but it was nice to be able to interact with him for just a moment.
Tonight's tribute is called an evensong. This is for the Queen. This is prayers and other tributes. What exactly is an evensong?
Evensong is one of the very traditional forms of prayer in the Church of England and the Episcopal Church. It's something that Cranmer developed. There's a whole range of beautiful music that's been written for evensong. We sing some passages from the Bible, from the Psalms, from the book of Luke, and we will be singing those tonight. Some members of our choir will be singing them. It will be interspersed with prayers and some readings from Scripture that we've chosen, particularly in memory of Her Majesty the Queen. I'm going to have a local Roman Catholic priest come and read one of the readings. Our Bishop Megan Traquair, is going to come and welcome everybody and pronounce the final blessing. And I'll be giving an address just reflecting on Her Majesty the Queen's life and what it is that we can take from her example.
Again, that happens tonight at 6 at Trinity Episcopal Cathedral in Sacramento. Thank you so much for joining us this morning to share about this ceremony.
Everybody would be most welcome to come and join us.
Thank you.